Hey guys, this is Jonathan and welcome to yet another C++ tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be breaking down this simple code that our IDE has created by default and looking at it line by line to see what exactly each line is doing and which lines are or are not necessary and what functions they perform. So if you can get through this tutorial, all the others will be much easier. And if you don't fully understand all these things, don't worry, we'll be explaining them all more in detail as we come to them. So the first line of code we have here is color-coded green in this IDE, and it is starts off with 2 forward slashes. And anything that has 2 forward slashes is a comment. So anything following there till the end of the line is a comment. And a comment is basically just anything you want to write. It could be a note you want to write to yourself or a description of the code that you have written, whatever it is. And you don't have to just have it on its own line. You can add a little comment to the end of a line of code and comment here. If you want multiple lines of code, there's a little trick to doing that. It's a forward slash followed by an asterisk, and you can write many lines of comments inside there or on there. So that's basically how that works, and it's just used to make the code clearer. On line 5, we have an empty line, and these empty lines are not don't do anything to the program. They don't impact it at all. They're just used to make things clearer and more readable if necessary, but it would work the same just to delete that line. On line 5 here, we have a few things we can do, but we're going to change this from this include. We're going to change it to these square brackets and write in IO stream, and then add ending square bracket here. Now what this line does is it is what we call a preprocessor command, and any command that starts with this little symbol here is a preprocessor command. Now this symbol, you might know it as a pound symbol or something like that, but in programming this is called a hash sign. So this hash sign is telling it to include this file here, and this file is found in your computer system files. And what it does is it basically, before this program compiles into a executable, the preprocessor takes all the contents of this file and basically just copies and pastes it right into where this line is. So you could copy and paste all those lines that are in this file ahead of time, but it is much nicer to just add one line and not make our code look so messy. And that is fairly simple, and I'll be showing you what these can be used for here shortly. Now we're going to change this line 6 again to something a little simpler. We're going to change it just to main and have empty curved brackets there. Now this is a function called main. When the program starts, it looks for this function called main and runs it first. And a function is basically a set of sequential instructions that the computer is going to run. So if you had a function called add, maybe it would take 2 numbers and add them together and then return the results. Or if you had a function called max, it might take 2 numbers, figure out which one is bigger, and then return or give an answer back on the bigger of the 2 values. So here in this main function, it is going to return a number. And we know this because we start off with this int, which stands for integer. So this is representing what our function is going to return, and this is the name of the function, and we won't worry about these brackets for now. Now the function starts and ends based on these curly brackets. So it starts on line 7 and it ends on line 9. And then after that we can add another function. For instance, we could call a function int add, and it will maybe add 2 numbers, and we can return, for now we'll just return 0, assuming that's adding correctly. Alright, now back to this main function here. The return will just return 0. Now 0 will mean that the program ran successfully. If we had set this to a 1, that would imply, or any other number, a -3 or 4, it would imply that the program was closed because of some sort of error. Now, if we were to run this program as is, you would see just a flash and it would be over, at least in Microsoft Visual Studio. Now, we want to pause the program before it ends. So what we will do is type in system, and then in brackets we'll type in, and then quotes inside that, type in pause. And we will add it with a semicolon. And that's another thing. Every single line that is a command to the computer should end in a semicolon. So when we return 0, we end it with a semicolon to say that that is the end of that statement. Same with this system pause. And what this system pause will do is now when we run it, it will say press any key to continue. If you do so, it will close. Another way to achieve the same effect is, if we delete this, at least in Microsoft Visual Studio, is to press Control F5, and that would basically work the same way. So that's all for this tutorial. I hope to see you in the next.